Life can be a celebration of joy and, at the same time, a silent echo of pain. In today's story, Sam and Lee host a heartfelt first birthday party for their little daughter, Anna, a radiant child who brings endless love into their lives. Yet, behind the laughter lies the absence of Sam's father, a man too burdened by poverty and shame to appear, but whose love remains unshakable. From afar, he silently blesses his family, promising to protect them no matter what. Stay with us, subscribe now, and let's step into this moving journey of love, sacrifice, and unspoken bonds. The soft glow of golden lights bathed the room in warmth as Sam and Lee welcomes their closest family and friends to the long-awaited celebration, the first birthday of their beloved daughter, Anna. The air was filled with laughter, gentle music, and the sweet aroma of freshly baked cakes, but nothing compared to the radiant joy that came from the little girl herself. Anna, dressed in a delicate white dress trimmed with lace, looked every bit like a little angel descended into their lives. Her rosy cheeks and sparkling eyes mirrored Lee's beauty, and each time she smiled, the entire room seemed to pause for a moment, caught in the magic of her innocence. Sam, holding his daughter in his arms, couldn't take his eyes off her. He marveled at her tiny hands gripping his fingers with surprising strength, at the way her soft giggle could melt every burden he had ever carried. Lee stood beside him, her gaze tender and full of pride, watching the two most precious souls in her life. When it was her turn to cradle Anna, she pressed her cheek gently against her daughter's hair, closing her eyes as if to capture the scent of childhood, the essence of love itself. Together, Sam and Lee exchanged looks that needed no words. Their hearts spoke in perfect harmony. The guests gathered around, smiling warmly at the scene before them. Some whispered to each other about how Anna had inherited Lee's elegance and grace, while others laughed softly, insisting that her bright, curious eyes were exactly like Sam's. The joy was contagious, spilling over into every corner of the room. It wasn't simply a birthday celebration, it was a testament to love, to family, to the journey that had brought Sam and Lee to this very moment. As the evening unfolded, Sam and Lee continued to pass Anna gently back and forth, unable to resist gazing at her for even a heartbeat too long. She had become the center of their world, the light that guided every choice, every dream they now held. In that instant, as they looked at their daughters surrounded by blessings and love, they knew that this was the kind of happiness people spend their whole lives searching for. It was fragile yet powerful, tender yet unshakable, the essence of a family's joy wrapped in the smile of a one-year-old girl. Yet, amid the glowing warmth of the celebration, a quiet emptiness lingered, an absence that even the laughter and music could not entirely conceal. For all the joy that filled the room, Sam's heart ached at the thought of one person who was not there, his father. The seat he had reserved for him remained empty, a silent reminder of the distance that lay between them, not measured in miles, but in unspoken words, unhealed wounds, and the weight of circumstance. Sam had invited him, of course. He had hoped, prayed even, that his father might gather the courage to come. But deep down, he knew why he would not. His father, once a man of quiet strength and pride, now lived each day as a drifter, surviving from hand to mouth, carrying on his shoulders the burden of being homeless. The years had been unkind to him, leaving him not with riches or respect, but with scars of struggle and the bitter taste of failure. And though Sam longed to see him, to bridge the gap between father and son, his father's own shame kept him away. For a man who had once dreamed of giving his child a better life, the thought of appearing before Sam's family in such a state felt unbearable. He feared not only their judgment, but also the look in his son's eyes, the reflection of pity or disappointment he could not endure. To him, it was easier to remain absent, to carry his love in silence, rather than stand in the light of Sam's happiness as a broken shadow of who he used to be. And so, while Sam lifted Anna high into the air to the sound of applause, while Lee pressed gentle kisses on her daughter's cheek, the old man was elsewhere, hidden in the streets, his heart tethered to the celebration he could not attend. Perhaps from some lonely corner of the city, he imagined the laughter, the candles, the sight of his granddaughter turning 1. Perhaps he whispered blessings to the night, hoping his words might reach them, even if his presence could not. It was this absence, so heavy yet invisible, that gave the celebration its bittersweet edge. Sam smiled for his guests, but when his gaze drifted to that empty chair, his chest tightened with unspoken longing. He knew his father was alive, out there somewhere, but still he felt the distance as sharply as if it were loss itself. Still, though his body remained absent from the celebration, the love of Sam's father was very much alive, woven invisibly into the fabric of that night. From afar, in the quiet corners where no one looked, he carried his role as a guardian in silence. He was not a man who could offer grand gifts or elegant speeches, but he carried a devotion no poverty could erase. Every beat of his weary heart was a prayer for Sam, for Lee, and for the child he had never dared to hold. As the soft notes of a lullaby played and Anna's laughter echoed through the hall, Sam's father imagined her smile. He pictured her tiny hands reaching for the candles, her eyes sparkling like Lee's, her innocence untouched by the harshness of the world. He saw in his mind the family gathered around her, celebrating the new life she represented, the new hope he had once wanted to give his son. It hurt him deeply not to be there, but at the same time, he found comfort in knowing Sam had built something beautiful, something far brighter than the struggles that had once defined their lives. From his distance, he whispered promises to the night sky. He vowed that even if he could not stand proudly at his son's side, he would still protect them in his own quiet way. No harm would come near Sam's family without him, standing as a shield, unseen but steadfast. His love was like the wind, unseen, intangible, yet ever present, brushing against them in moments of peace and in whispers of strength when life grew heavy. Inside the hall, Sam's laughter joined Lee's, their daughter a bright star between them. Outside in the darkness of his solitude, the old man smiled faintly to himself, warmed by the thought that his son no longer walked the difficult path he once had. The shame of being a homeless wanderer weighed heavily on him, yet his pride in Sam lifted that burden, if only for a fleeting moment. And so, while the night drew to a close and the candles flickered lower, a silent bond stretched across the distance, a bond of blood, of sacrifice, of love unspoken yet eternal. Sam did not see his father watching over them from afar, but somehow he felt it, the steady presence of a man who had given everything, and now, from the shadows, continued to give the only thing he had left, his blessing.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Sam Review. Vậy là tập phim vào ngày hôm nay của chúng ta đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong tập phim ngày hôm nay của chúng ta thì Lý Tử Sam và cảnh sát Ni đã tổ chức tiệc thôi lôi cho con gái của mình là bé Anna trong không khí rất là vui vẻ, ấm cúng và hạnh phúc. Và có một điều hơi đáng tiếc là trong bữa tiệc thôi lôi ngày hôm nay của con của cảnh sát Ly và Lý Tử Sam, đó chính là không có sự có mặt của bố đẻ của Lý Tử Sam. Vì ông hiện tại chưa muốn xuất hiện trước mặt con gái vì ông bây giờ đang ở trong tình trạng là tay trắng. Ông muốn có một chút gì đó thì sau đó mới quay lại tìm con gái và cháu ngoại, nhưng từ xa ông vẫn sẽ luôn chúc phúc cho gia đình Sam và luôn tìm cách bảo vệ gia đình Sam từ xa. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn hơn sẽ xuất hiện ở các tập tiếp theo. Các bạn bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Bye bye.